Imagine dying alone. No family beside you. No friends holding your hand. No one who even notices for 2 full days. Just a cold hotel room, a locked door, and silence. Now imagine that the moment the world finds out you are gone, the government breaks down that door and takes everything you ever created. Every notebook, every blueprint, every secret you spent 86 years building. Gone. Overnight. Without a single explanation. This is not a story from a movie. This is not a conspiracy theory from the internet. This happened. It is documented. It is real. And the man it happened to gave the world the electricity running through your walls right now. He gave the world the technology sitting inside your phone. He gave the world ideas so far ahead of their time that governments are still arguing about them today. His name was Nikola Tesla. And the story you are about to hear is nothing like the one they taught you in school. Because the version in the textbooks tells you he was a genius who lost a fight to Thomas Edison. But the real story is about a man who won every scientific battle he ever fought and still lost everything. Not because he was weak, not because he was foolish, but because he was so far ahead of the world around him that the world decided it was safer to bury him. This is the true story of Nikola Tesla. The man who lit up the world and died in the dark. The year is 1856. In a tiny village called Smiljan, in what is now the country of Croatia, a baby boy is born just after midnight during a fierce thunderstorm. The midwife looked at the storm raging outside and told his mother it was a bad omen, that this child would be a child of darkness. His mother looked at her and said, "No, he will be a child of light." She had no idea how right she was. Nikola Tesla grew up the son of a Serbian Orthodox priest. His father wanted him to follow the same path, to become a man of the church.
This path was chosen for you before you drew breath. It is your sacred duty to follow it without question.
But young Nikola had a different kind of calling. From the earliest age, his mind worked in ways that confused the people around him. He could memorize entire books after reading them once. He could perform complex mathematical calculations entirely inside his head, without writing a single number down. He could look at a machine and see not just what it was, but what it could become. He had what some people today would call a photographic memory. Others would simply call it genius. But his childhood was not all brilliance and wonder. When Nikola was 5 years old, his older brother Dane, the brother everyone in the family believed was the truly gifted one, died in a riding accident. The family was shattered, and young Nikola spent years growing up in the shadow of a brother who was gone, always feeling that no matter what he achieved it would never be quite enough. That feeling never fully left him, and it drove him. For the rest of his life, it drove him. As a young man, Tesla threw himself into his studies with an almost frightening intensity. He would study for hours without stopping, sometimes through the entire night, sometimes forgetting to eat for days. His professors were stunned. One of them wrote to Tesla's father saying that unless his son was removed from the university, the young man would literally work himself to death from studying too hard. Tesla arrived in America in June of 1884. He stepped off the boat in New York City with 4 cents in his pocket. 4 cents. No job, no home, no connections, no safety net of any kind. Just a letter of recommendation in his hand and a head full of ideas that would eventually change the entire world. The letter was addressed to Thomas Edison, and the man who wrote it said something extraordinary. He wrote, "I know 2 great men. You are one of them. The other is this young man." Edison hired Tesla almost immediately, and for a short while, it seemed like these 2 brilliant minds might build something remarkable together. But they were very different kinds of men. Edison believed in working through trial and error, testing thousands of ideas until one worked, grinding through problems with pure stubbornness and effort. Tesla believed in thinking first, visualizing the solution completely inside his mind before ever touching a single tool. To Tesla, building something before you understood it fully was simply a waste of time. Edison found this approach strange. Tesla found Edison's approach almost primitive. From the very beginning, a collision was coming. Not long after Tesla began working for Edison, Edison made him an offer. He told Tesla to improve the motors and generators in his electrical system.
Redesign them, make them better, and I will pay you $50,000.
$50,000 in 1884 was an enormous sum of money. It would be worth over $1.5 million in today's money. Tesla accepted. He worked for months without rest. He redesigned everything Edison asked him to. He solved problems that Edison's own engineers had been struggling with for years. When he finished, he went to Edison and asked for the $50,000. Edison looked at him and laughed. He told Tesla,
It was a joke. You just don't understand American humor.
There was no money. There had never been any money. Tesla quit on the spot. No salary owed to him. No recognition for months of brilliant work. No $50,000. And for a period after that, Nikola Tesla, the man whose ideas would one day power the entire modern world, dug ditches. Literally dug ditches on the streets of New York for $2 a day. Standing in a trench in the frozen New York ground, holding a shovel, with equations for world-changing electrical systems running through his mind. That image tells you everything you need to know about how the world treated Nikola Tesla. But Tesla did not stay in that ditch for long. Word got out about his ideas. A group of investors agreed to fund him. They gave him a laboratory. And finally, with space and resources and freedom to work, Tesla built what he had been dreaming of for years, the alternating current motor. Now, to understand why this was such a big deal, you need to understand the world at that time. Edison had built an electrical system that ran on something called direct current, DC electricity. It worked, but it had a serious weakness. Direct current could only travel a short distance from the power station before it became too weak to be useful. This meant you needed enormous numbers of power stations built close together to power a city. It was expensive, it was inefficient, and it had a ceiling on how big it could ever grow. Tesla's alternating current was different. Alternating current could travel hundreds of miles without losing its strength. One power station could light up an entire region. The system was cleaner, cheaper, and almost infinitely more scalable than anything Edison had built. It was quite simply a better system in every measurable way. Edison knew this, and it terrified him, because Edison had invested everything, his money, his reputation, his entire business empire, into direct current. If alternating current won, Edison lost. So Edison decided not to compete with the science. He decided to attack the man instead. What Thomas Edison did next is one of the ugliest chapters in the history of science. He launched a public campaign to convince people that alternating current was deadly. He held demonstrations where his assistants publicly electrocuted animals using alternating current. Dogs, calves, trying to show crowds of horrified people that this was a dangerous and murderous technology. He lobbied politicians to ban alternating current entirely. He used his connections with newspapers to run stories claiming that anyone who used alternating current in their home was putting their family in danger. He even helped develop the electric chair for executing prisoners and made sure it used alternating current, specifically so that the public would associate Tesla's technology with death and execution. This was not science. This was not honest competition. This was a deliberate, calculated, deeply dishonest campaign to destroy another man's work through fear and propaganda. Tesla fought back in the most elegant way imaginable. He stood in front of audiences and allowed 250,000 volts of alternating current to pass directly through his own body. He let lightning dance across his skin. He held glowing light bulbs that lit up from the electricity flowing through him. And he stood there, perfectly calm, perfectly unharmed, showing the world that the technology Edison was calling a death trap was safe enough for a man to wear on his own skin. The public was astonished, and slowly the truth began to win. In 1893, the city of Chicago hosted the World's Fair.it was one of the most watched events in America. Millions of people attended. The eyes of the entire country were on it. The organizers needed someone to power it with electricity. Edison submitted a bid. Tesla and his partner George Westinghouse submitted a bid. Tesla won. The World's Fair was lit entirely by alternating current. Hundreds of thousands of light bulbs, the most spectacular display of electric light the world had ever seen. People stood in the streets of Chicago weeping at the beauty of it. And 3 years later, in 1896, Tesla designed the first major hydroelectric power plant in the world at Niagara Falls. The power of one of the greatest waterfalls on Earth, captured and converted into electricity and sent flowing to homes and factories across the region. It was a triumph unlike anything the world of science had ever seen. Alternating current had won. Tesla had won. His vision of a world powered by clean, flowing, limitless electricity was becoming real. But here is where the story takes a turn that most people do not know about. At the peak of his success, Tesla tore up his own contract. His partner Westinghouse was in financial trouble. Investors were threatening to take over unless the company canceled the royalty payments it owed Tesla for his patents. Those royalties would have made Tesla one of the wealthiest men in America. Tesla tore the contract in half, walked away from all of it, because he believed in the work more than the money. It was the most generous and the most devastating financial decision of his life. With the money from Westinghouse, Tesla had funded something truly extraordinary. A project unlike anything anyone had ever attempted before. He bought land on Long Island in New York. He began construction on a massive tower. A tower that, in his vision, would do something that sounds like science fiction even today. He planned to transmit electricity wirelessly, not through wires, not through cables, through the air itself, through the earth itself. His vision was a world where every person, everywhere on the planet, could receive free electricity simply by pushing a rod into the ground. No power bills. No cables. No infrastructure costs. Free energy for all of humanity. He called it Wardenclyffe Tower. And he convinced the most powerful banker in America, a man named J.P. Morgan, to fund it. Construction began. The tower rose. Tesla poured everything he had into it. And then Morgan found out something that made him pull his funding immediately. He found out the electricity would be free. Free electricity meant no meters. No meters meant no way to charge customers. No charges meant no profit. J.P. Morgan had not invested in a dream of free energy for humanity. He had invested to make money. Funding stopped. Construction halted. Workers left. Tesla's tower stood unfinished on Long Island. A monument to a dream that the financial world had decided it did not want to exist. It was eventually demolished, sold for scrap to pay Tesla's debts. The dream of free electricity for all of humanity torn down for scrap metal. After Wardenclyffe, things began to fall apart for Tesla in ways that seemed almost impossibly cruel. In 1895, a fire tore through his laboratory in New York. Everything inside was destroyed. Years of research, irreplaceable models and prototypes, notebooks full of ideas that existed nowhere else in the world. Tesla stood in the street watching it burn and told a reporter simply, "I am too grief-stricken to speak." He rebuilt. He always rebuilt. But each time he fell, it became harder to get back up. And the financial support that had once come relatively easily began to dry up. The problem was not that Tesla stopped having ideas. His mind never slowed down. The problem was that his ideas were getting bigger, stranger, further beyond what anyone around him could fully understand or believe.
With Teleforce, we can construct an impenetrable defensive shield. This beam weapon changes everything.
He spoke of transmitting not just electricity but information wirelessly across the planet. He described something that sounds remarkably like what we would today call the internet. He spoke of machines that could be controlled remotely without any human operator, what we would call drones and remote-controlled vehicles. January the 7th, 1943, the Hotel New Yorker, room 3327. A maid named Alice Monahan had not been able to enter the room for 2 days. A do not disturb sign had been on the door. On the third day, she knocked again. No answer. She used her key. Inside the room, she found the body of an 86-year-old man, lying in his bed, alone, peaceful, cold. He had been dead for approximately 2 days before anyone found him. 2 days. The cause of death was recorded as coronary thrombosis, heart failure. He had no family with him, no close friends by his side. The hotel staff were the only people who knew. The morning after Tesla's body was discovered, things moved very fast. Tesla's nephew, a man named Sava Kasanovic, rushed to the hotel as soon as he heard the news. When he arrived at room 3327, the door was already open, and he noticed immediately that something was wrong. Papers were out of place. Drawers had been disturbed. A black notebook that Kasanovic knew Tesla had kept for years, a notebook with hundreds of pages of research notes, some marked with the word government, was missing. Someone had been in the room before him. Shortly after, representatives of the United States government's Office of Alien Property arrived at the hotel. They systematically removed everything from Tesla's room. And here is the detail that makes this even stranger. An electrical engineer was assigned to review Tesla's papers and determine their significance. His name was Dr. John G. Trump, the uncle of a man who would one day become president of the United States. Dr. Trump reviewed the seized materials and submitted a report. He concluded that Tesla's papers contained nothing of significant scientific value, nothing dangerous, nothing extraordinary. The government released this conclusion publicly. Case closed. Nothing to see here. Tesla demonstrated wireless transmission of radio signals before Marconi received the patent for it. The United States Supreme Court eventually ruled in Tesla's favor, recognizing him as the true inventor of radio. But by then, the world had already given the credit to someone else. The principles inside your television, your radar systems, your MRI machines in hospitals, neon lighting, remote control technology, all of it traces back, in some form, to the ideas of one man who arrived in New York in 1884 with 4 cents in his pocket. Nikola Tesla died on the 7th of January, 1943. The next morning, the government came, and the world went on running on his electricity without ever fully stopping to ask, what exactly did they take from that hotel room? We will probably never know the full answer. But we know this. The world you live in today, the lights above you, the device in your hand, the invisible signals filling the air around you right now, was built on the dreams of a man who was robbed at every turn and kept dreaming anyway. If this documentary changed how you see the world even slightly, hit the like button right now. It costs you nothing and it means everything to a channel just starting out. Subscribe for a new documentary every single week. Drop a comment below. I want to know what shocked you most about the real Nikola Tesla. I read every single one, and I will see you in the next one.